Sonic High School, Chapter 6. Espio walked to Rouge's house because it was time for their date together, and all Espio could think about was that they were about to make sex for the first time. Espio looked at the computer and read about what to do and what the right words were so he would know how it works and how to say it right so no one would make fun of him. It was Rouge's house he was at now, and it was in front of him. Espio knocked Rouge's house door. "I hope she is home," said Espio, and she was. She opened the door just then. "Hello, I'm home," said Rouge, looking always sexy in her tiny baby bra and big cool boobs. Espio thought she looked like the hottest woman in the world that he could see from here. "Where are you taking me on our date tonight?" whispered Rouge in a sex-filled voice. Espio had thought this one over on the way over so that he could say it right the first time and get her to do what he wanted. That's sex. "Well," said Espio, "just let me put on the science hat and we will begin sex." Okay. Rouge looked shocked, but she probably was excited too. Espio could tell they both had a erection. "What?" said Rouge in a shocked way. "Right here?" Espio said, "Yes, this hat was made by Tails specifically for our date. It makes it impossible to see and impossible to hear while I am wearing it." Espio did a cool face at her because being smart can be too cool as long as you're not a nerd ass. Rouge said, "Okay, let's go inside," and gently grabbed Espio's hand, but he pulled it back and she fell, causing him to fall, and they both together fell onto the grass, where they rolled around in it until they were about in the middle of Rouge's house's front lawn, so there was plenty of room around them for activities. "No," said Espio, "I want to make sex in you right here." And Espio put on the invisibility hat so nobody could see or hear them, and a whole new world of possibilities were optioned to them so they could do sex in whatever they wanted, and it was the time to start sex right now. Espio revealed his penis to Rouge, who looked at it. Rouge said, "Cool," and took out her vagina. Espio's penis was really big from looking at Rouge like when he is in church, and it's so boring, but you just get a boner anyway. Rouge, Rouge's Rouge's vagina looked like a surprised ghost. Espio's penis approached Rouge like a plane flying down at the airport. But instead of being full of businessmen, it was full of Espio's creamy Italian salad dress. It was full of Espio's creamy Italian salad dressing. "Here it comes," cried Espio, ramming his mauve Avenger into Rouge's vagina spot. Rouge screamed sex noises, and Espio messed around with her boobs and face like she was the X-Men arcade game. Espio Espio slapped his big awesome penis from side to side in her vagina like a hot dog windshield wiper, and Rouge was ripping grass from the lawn. Then Espio used his tail to flip her over. He can do this, and put his penis into her butt. He moved his penis in circles in her butthole, like it was building a golf course and digging out the back nine. Rouge was flapping her bat wings like an idiot, and not flying because Espio was holding onto her ass cheeks and pressing into them with his fingers, and leaving marks that looked like it said, "Wow," when combined with the spot where her butthole is. And that is what she felt because Espio seemed to be a sex professional. Espio used his tail again to flip her over, and did all-star sex things like using his penis like a rolling pin on her face, and plugging his penis into her belly button to see how far it would go, and making a balls hurricane with swirling his balls and her balls. Finally, they both got so sexy that Espio's penis ejaculated, and semen came out of it, and landed on Rouge, who was lying there on the lawn, but nobody could see them, so it was okay. And at that part, Espio screamed, "It's semen time!" And Rouge shouted, "Create a generation in me." Espio ejaculated semen into her vagina, and that was what happened. Now that they were done doing sex, they put their penis and vagina and balls away, and Espio took the invisibility hat, and it was like nothing ever happened, but they both know it did, because they were there for it. "Bye-bye," said Espio, and Espio walked off her property and away to his house and did the rest of his things until school happened the next day. Sonic High School, Chapter 7. "We had front sex," whispered Espio at the people at his lunch table. Espio was at school in the lunchroom, and also was Tails and Knuckles and Charmy Bee and Vector too. "I ejaculated from my penis and into her body. Bet you haven't done that." They had not done that. "Wow, cool. You're the coolest after Sonic," said Tails, who was right there, so he didn't have to shout. It was good not to shout because this was supposed to be a secret. Tails did not hear the whole school talking about Espio's penis and balls like with Sonic in Chapter 1, but in a different way. Sex. "Yeah, speaking of Sonic, where's that game bag?" said Vector, who was the captain of the school's football team. Vector was good at this because he was big and strong and had sharp teeth under his mouth. "Just kidding," said Vectors. "Sonic is cool." "I don't know," said Tails to Vector. Where Sonic was somewhere else, trying to find Amy, who was not at lunch. Sonic was knocking on Amy's door at her house. "Are you home?" said Sonic. "Are you home?" It was like Amy was not home because she was not opening the door. Sonic was worried about Amy because she was his only girlfriend, even if she denied his sex offer, so he ran into the door and barged it down like it was made of nothing. Sonic was now in Amy's house. Amy's house was really pink because that was Amy's color. Sonic looked around Amy's house for Amy, but Sonic could not find anyone. Sonic finally went to Amy's bedroom and opened the door. What Sonic saw next was what he did not expect. Amy was right. Amy was there, tied up on her bed with a thing in her mouth, so she couldn't talk. Sonic did a scream and ran over to Amy, who was looking at his with tears in her eyes. She looked sad and starved like African kids. Sonic united Amy, and she sat... Sonic united Amy, and she sat up and cried into Sonic's arms. "It was awful," said Amy. "He came into my room in the evening and tied me up on this bed and messed up the things in my room." Amy was right. Her room looked messy. "So get it made," said Sonic, always thinking about a solution to problems. "Who tied you up? Who was it? Be calm, Amy. Calm down and talk to me." Sonic patted Amy on the back to help her. "It was Shadow.
I saw him outside his house next door with his machine gun and a sword going in his house to kill his mom. And he saw me. He knew I saw him, so he tied me up like a brigand.
Amy said all of this. Sonic was shocked that Amy said this to him. He remembered now in that other part when Shadow said he was going to kill his mom, but no one thought about it more than once because Shadow was always a bad guy. What they didn't realize was that Shadow was serious.
Okay, was it him who also said that you would not have sex with me on Sonic Messenger?
Said Sonic to Amy.
Yes, I did not talk to you then,
Spoke Amy back to Sonic.
So, how do you really feel about it?
Says Sonic, whose brain was now humming with sex ideas.
Shit. Okay. Shit, I don't know,
said Amy, still all worked up.
Give me a day. Right now, let's get things right.
So Sonic and Amy went back to school, where everyone else was besides them. Sonic and Amy saw Espio walking around between a lot of other people.
Hey, here you are,
said Espio to Sonic and Amy.
I had sex with Rouge last night. Do not tell everyone,
said Espio.
Oh, that's right, you did. I almost forgot, said Sonic. Hear that, Amy?
And Amy was like, yep.
You gotta tell me all about it later so I know what to do to Amy,
said Sonic, and then turned around. Sonic heard a sound coming from down the hallway where someone was coming. It was a really fat guy that looked so huge to him. The fat guy got closer and closer until they could see who it was, and it was Rouge.
Wow, you're so fat now, said Espio. What's that about?
Rouge looked mad and surprised at Espio.
Well, you got me pregnant,
said Rouge.
Oh my god, thought Sonic to himself without saying it with voice. She is pregnancy fat.
This means she will have a baby. Amy was smiling for real to Rouge.
That's so nice. I hope you have a great baby,
said Amy. Sonic tried to be a good boyfriend and said,
hope your baby is cool,
and smiled. Espio looked more worried than everybody else.
So, I am gonna be your baby's dad?
Said Espio, worried and excited both.
I'm not saying that.
Better believe it, boy, said a voice that sounded just like Shadow's. Sonic High School, Chapter 8.
Shadow!
Sonic shouted. It was Shadow there.
Surprised to see me,
said Shadow.
We know what you did to your mother,
screamed Amy like a crazy man. It was... Shadow cut her off and did not let her finish saying the sentence.
You did not see me, you did not see anything. I am Shadow, and I know how to commit crimes. You think I have not killed a person before? I have.
Shadow crossed his arms and sneered at Amy, looking at her.
But I saw you.
Then Amy said,
You saw nothing. I stopped you.
Shadow said.
It doesn't matter. You were on your way inside your house to kill your mom,
said Amy. Amy shook around because she was all nervous, and her smaller than Rouge's, but still good boobs, wiggled a little, and Sonic thought it was cool to see, and he wanted to support her.
I did not kill my mom. I was going into my house to protect her from Dr. Eggman,
Shadow said.
Oh, okay,
said Sonic, and Sonic and Espio went to class because it started, and they are still in the high school hallway.
He was trying to ship my Ultra Chaos Emerald shards to space so he could collect them in his X-Space station,
said Shadow to Amy in an explaining way.
We gotta do something about him. I understand that you had a reason to tie me up, but do not kill your mother,
responded Amy.
Okay, I guess this is all Shadow. I was only kidding because the other guys were all being too important about themselves, and I do not think that is a good quality for high school students to be. High school students should be nice and caring and not talk about themselves like they are the best, because that will only make us all assholes, which isn't what we should be trying to be.
Shadow said that to Amy, and she understood that he was a good guy and had a reason for tying her up on a bed, even if he had bad times when he was dark and did crimes in the cityscape. They both went to class in different directions, so the conversation ended. Later, after school, Sonic went on Sonic Messenger and talked to Espio.
Hey, Espio, how are you? Do you know what you're gonna do about being for Rouge's baby?
He said into the computer.
Listen, Sonic, this is hard for me to say,
said Espio into the computer, which went across the internet to Sonic.
I want to get Rouge to get a abortion.
Sonic was upset because Rouge's baby would not survive it. In fact, Rouge's baby would die.
There has to be another way, Espio,
said Sonic in Sonic Messenger.
But if you really want to do it, that's okay too, because it is your decision.
Good, because I want you to help me. I'm going to go to Rouge tomorrow at school and slip her the abortion pill in one of her meals. You will help me by distracting her from me,
said Espio then.
Okay, see you then,
said Sonic. The next day happened and Sonic was at lunch.
I won the science competition, but you didn't come, Sonic,
said Tails in a sad, mad way.
I wanted you to come because I'm such a good friend to you, but you did not. But I won anyway without you.
Tails was mad at Sonic, which did not usually happen because they were the best friends.
Wow! Sorry, Tails. I was so busy I did not know,
said Sonic, trying to make Tails happy again.
Kiss my ass, Dick,
screamed Tails to Sonic and flew out of the room with his flying tails.
This is awful, said Sonic. He is my best friend.
Sonic knew this was a big problem, but changed his mind to thinking about Rouge and Espio, and then went over to where Rouge was going to get the abortion pill from Espio. Vector was there too, which was weird because he usually was not.
Okay, Espio, are you ready?
Said Sonic only to Espio. Espio shook his head yes.
Hey Rouge, how are you doing today? How was class? Do you have lots of homework? What are you eating for lunch?
Sonic said to Rouge to distract her from Espio. Looks like Sonic did it perfectly because while he was asking these things, Espio put the abortion pill in Rouge's salad. Rouge ate salads because she is thin. Rouge answered the questions, but no one was paying attention because they were now glad it was done.
What is this?
Said Rouge, suddenly looking like a shocked woman.
What is wrong?
Asked Espio. He was worrying that Rouge found the abortion pill in her salad and was looking at it.
I think I'm having my baby. Here it comes.
Rouge said this before she could even eat the abortion pill, so everyone knew the baby was coming for real.
Oh no,
said all of them together but Rouge. Rouge lied down on the ground and they put a curtain around her so no one could really see what was going on because it was gonna be gross. They could see a baby to start to come out of her butt, and it was crying a lot. Everyone wanted the baby to shut up already because they were just trying to have lunch, but now there's a baby coming out in the lunchroom at high school. Mrs. Lesson, who was also the school nurse, said,
"Get out of my way, kids. I have to help this baby get out of Rouge. Babies are too weak to do this by themselves."
Mrs. Lesson went behind the curtain and helped pull the baby out of Rouge's butt, and it was still crying. Could you believe it? Rouge was exhausted from her baby, but Mrs. Lesson was not. Mrs. Lesson held the baby in her hands while it was still crying and held it out to everyone.
"Look at it,"
said Mrs. Lesson. Rouge's baby was red, and had long hair and big white fists. Sonic High School, Chapter 9. Rouge's baby continued to do crying louder than a monster truck. Sonic looked at the baby really close.
Hey, Espio,
Said Sonic.
aren't babies supposed to look like you? Rouge's baby doesn't look like you, but looks like someone else I know.
Sonic rubbed his chin and thought about who it was that it looked like. Yeah, Espio, Rouge's baby looks like Knuckles, said Vector.
Cool. I'm gonna go tell him.
I messed up that voice there. Vector ran like a crocodile would to find Knuckles to tell him that what he said. Rouge was still on the ground looking all tired and sore, and Miss Lesson was rubbing her butt because it was hurting from the baby that came out when she gave birth to her baby. This dang baby was still crying. Espio looked worried about it.
You guys are right. Why does not that baby look like me?
Espio went over to Miss Lesson, who was holding the baby still, and looked at it closer, and still could not see himself in the baby.
This does not make sense,
said Espio to the baby. Just then, Vector came out of the door, and there was Knuckles too, huffing and puffing and looking surprised. Knuckles went right to Rouge and looked at the baby. Wagyu, he said, making that sound when he saw the baby, Rouge's baby, that looked like him. The baby was still crying. What is wrong with you? Yelled Knuckles at Rouge. Why did you go and have a baby? Now I gotta be your dad. He kept yelling at her with the maddest feelings. Knuckles thought about his horoscope that he read this morning, and it said, Your biggest fear will come true, so you better watch out. Now he knew what that meant. It was about Rouge's baby, because Knuckles did not want this responsibility. It is harder than having a dog. Rouge was tired and Rouge's baby was crying, but Rouge was crying and scared of Knuckles' volcano rage and said,
I'm sorry. It was supposed to be Espio's baby. I'm sorry it wasn't, because he would not treat me like this.
What Rouge said sent Knuckles into the next level of his anger. He turned even redder and looked at Espio. You tried to have a baby with her? Rouge is mine. You are not allowed. Knuckles charged at Espio, but Vector held him back. Sonic thought,
Vector, why would you bring him here if you just know it was going to cause trouble?
Espio said.
What? I did not know. You are not boyfriend and girlfriend.
Espio seemed scared, but still kind of calm. We are, but it was a secret. Now you have to pay. Knuckles kept trying to get at Espio, but Vector was holding him back. And thank goodness Vector was here, because he was the captain of the football team and could restrain him like a crocodile's seatbelt that could also talk to you. Knuckles could not get to him, so he said, Tomorrow we will fight. Meet me in the hallway at the end of school and prepare for me to beat on your ass. Shit, man. Knuckles stormed out of the lunchroom and went away. Rouge's baby stopped crying. Rouge's baby stopped crying and said,
Now come back. You don't have to fight Espio.
But it was too late because Knuckles was so gone by then. Rouge patted her baby on the head and said,
You should go to sleep and get your rest, baby. You're probably tired.
So, Rouge's baby went to sleep and was finally quiet. Espio tried his best to look like a big tough guy and not panic, but he was secretly scared and went back to doing what he was doing before this baby thing happened. So did Sonic too. The rest of the school and getting home from school happened. Sonic did not see Tails or Knuckles for any part of it. Tails was still mad at Sonic. Sonic took out his Sonic phone and on his way home and called his girlfriend Amy,
Hey, Amy. So, did you decide if you wanted sex?
said Sonic.
Said Amy. Sonic, I am just stressed out and nervous by everything going on at high school. Things are so crazy.
Damn, said Sonic and hung up the phone and finished getting home. He just hung up on her. So- Sonic thought he would never be true boyfriend and girlfriend with Amy at this rate. It was almost like she had a second boyfriend that Sonic did not know about, and that was why Amy did not want sex from Sonic. Sonic had dinner and then thought about his friends. Espio and Knuckles were both his friends, but they were intending to fight. What could Sonic do? Sonic figured that they are still both his friends. But he would go visit Espio because he was not the one who sent to fight, and because Knuckles had spikes on his hands that would make it hard to beat him in a fight. Sonic went to Espio's house. Ding dong, said Espio's doorbell, and Sonic waited at the door. Espio showed up at the door and opened it.
Hey, Sonic. Thanks for coming.
Said Espio to Sonic.
You gotta help me prepare for this fight. We could start by learning how to get rid of puncture wounds. I was trying not to look nervous to Knuckles, but actually, I was. Also, did you hear about Charmy Bee?
Nope, I did not hear, said Sonic back to Espio.
Knuckles kidnapped that little gay and is threatening to hurt him if I don't show up to fight him tomorrow. So I have to, especially now, because the gods will crush my soul even if Charmy Bee is an annoying idiot loser,
said Espio, then back to Sonic.
Oh no, that's really bad,
said Sonic. Sonic knew this now had to happen too, because his morals were probably the best ever. He did not know Knuckles would stoop to such a mean thing. Sonic and Espio then walked into Espio's house and up the stairs to Espio's bedroom.
Our other friend is here too,
said Espio just as he was opening the door to his bedroom. Espio finished opening the door and there was Tails, who was standing in Espio's room. The moment Tails saw Sonic, his face turned into a salad of anger, the devil, and lava. Sonic High School, Chapter 10.
Why are you here?
Screamed Tails with the anger of a million angry birds. Sonic was shocked because Tails was his best friend, and Tails was smart, but Tails was super pissed at Sonic for not coming to the science competition, even though they were best friends. Sonic moved his mouth, but words didn't come out because he did not know what to say. Sonic was a mixture of mad and sad and frustrating because he did not know what he could do to get Tails to be his friend again. At times like this, Sonic thought about Amy's fine body because it set his mind at ease.
I am here for my friend,
said Sonic.
Our friend, Espio. We are still friends too. Oh, sorry, that's Sonic. Oh, gosh. I am here for my friend, said Sonic. Our friend, Espio. We are still friends too, Tails. You are just too mad to see that. I know what I see,
said Tails, kind of screaming.
I am so smart.
Espio tried to get in between them, even though it was his house that they were in right now, and said,
Guys, please. Let's just make sure I can fight Knuckles and not get owned.
Sonic and Knuckles...
Huh? Okay.
Sonic and Knuckles ignored him for the moment and continued to be in a fuss.
I am so sorry, bro. I don't understand. What can I do to make our friendship the best one ever once again?
Said Sonic to Tails. Tails wiggled his two tails and looked to the side in a thinking way.
I don't know, said Tails to Sonic. But you know what? Here, take this. Tails took out a blue book from a spot and threw it on the ground in front of Sonic. It was what it was when Sonic looked at it. It was Sonic's journal. What? How did you get this? Said Sonic to Tails. I gave this to Miss Lesson before she read about my balls problems. I lied. I did not go to the science competition that night. I still went to school, but instead of going to the science competition, I used my science hat of invisibility to sneak into Miss Lesson's room and get your journal. I wanted to get your journal so that no one else could read your business and see your gay ball problems that I know you still have, even though you think you are getting better. I was going to give it back to you, but you were not there at the competition like you should have been, even though I am such a good friend to you. Even now, when I could have been reaching my moment of genius, I was doing a thing for you, because I want you to be happy, Tails said to Sonic with a voice of emotion.
Sonic did not know what to say. High school drama was so insane to be a part of. Sonic picked up his journal and felt like he was going to cry because he was being an asshole jerk to his best friend who was only trying to make him happy.
Tails, you did not have to do this,
finally said Sonic respondingly.
What matters is that I did, said Tails, and also that you did not care for my special day because you were too busy trying to be true boyfriend and girlfriend with Amy. Goodbye, Sonic,
said Tails right before he flew out of Espio's bedroom window with his flying tails, and then he did.
This is so shitty,
said Espio to Sonic, who was now the only other person in his bedroom.
I still have to fight Knuckles tomorrow, but your different kind of fight with Tails is just as crazy. That is for me to figure out with Tails, said Sonic. Let's get back to making sure you cannot be defeated by Knuckles.
Sonic and Espio spent all night in Espio's bedroom, reading books and watching videos about fighting and learning how to be the best at it. By the time the night was over, Espio was ready to face Knuckles. They went to school on this new day, and school happened and was over, and now they were in the hall where Knuckles said to meet him to fight. There was a crowd of people around him that included Sonic, who looked worried, Rouge, who looked worried with her baby, and Vector, who was smiling. Also in the crowd was Tails, and with him, Cream the Rabbit, who was Charmy Bee's girlfriend. Cream was a little woman and pretty smart, but not as smart as Tails. Her boobs were smaller than both Amy's and Rouge's, but they were still high quality in their own way. It is surprising to most people that a gay like Charmy was even allowed to have a girlfriend, but it just goes to show you that the impossible is not what you think it is. Then, Espio jumped over the crowd and into the middle where Knuckles was.
So, you decided to come anyway,
said Knuckles,
even though you know your ass is going to get torn up by my moves.
I do not want to fight you, Knuckles,
said Espio to Knuckles.
But I am doing this for Charmy and Rouge. I am doing this for Charmy because you kidnapped him, and for Rouge because you do not respect her baby.
Then let's do this, said Knuckles. Knuckles charged at Espio with his fists like an elephant, running at a hunter trying to kill him for his powers. But Espio jumped out of the way and onto the wall like a pro jumper, which he learned how to do last night. Espio jumped at Knuckles with a kick move, and Knuckles punched at his foot, and they met with a purple and red explosion of power that knocked them both back. They continued to jump around and attack each other, and they did this for a while. It was difficult to watch for everyone. Rouge was in the crowd with her baby.
This is so difficult to watch,
said Rouge.
Violence should not be a solution to conflict,
said Rouge's baby, peeking out between his hands.
You are right. Why do people do this like this? I hate it, said Rouge to Rouge's baby. Rouge had become a different person since she had a baby. She used to be only sexy, but now Rouge was sexy and matronly.
Yes, fuck this, fuck this evil world,
Said Rouge's baby. Rouge then revealed her boob to her baby and had had him eat from it as a baby would do. Rouge's baby thought it was the best part about being a baby because not everyone would get cool Not everyone would get cool boobs like this delivered to them on their doorstep like a milkman. Babies did not have much to worry about anyway, so Rouge's ace boobs made paradise a realty for baby.
I have a feeling,
said Rouge's baby.
You should lie down and relax.
So Rouge lied down on her back and the fight continued to go on. Knuckles and Espio were both bloody and gross looking, like two waiters who were holding messy foods and then walked into each other, causing the meals to launch into the air and then fall down on them and ruin the nice clothes they got from the store. They were breathing hard and were tired, but they kept going, jumping and kicking and punching and running. It looked like two people doing a dance, but hitting each other also. Knuckles kicked his feet out at Espio, but Espio jumped up and dodged them and came back down and hit Knuckles in the mouth and knocked him onto the floor/ground.
Is this enough yet? Are we done? Shouted Espio to Knuckles. How will this ever end?
Knuckles looked up from the ground at Espio standing over him. Knuckles had a twinkle in his eye as he looked up at Espio and crawled towards him. Espio did not do anything but watch him and feel dangerous. Come closer, said Knuckles in a whisper voice. So Espio bent down and put his face to Knuckles's. Knuckles looked up and down Espio's sweaty purple body, and into his eyes and said, I respect you. And then grabbed his face as gentle as a deer and kissed him on the mouth. When Knuckles kissed him, he did it extra hard, sometimes with his eyes shut and sometimes looking into Espio's deep yellow eyes that looked like a circus of loving men. Their tongues met in the middle of their mouths like two chicken cutlets. Their tongues met in the middle of their mouths like two chicken cutlets that were acting like cats that loved each other. When Espio was watching fighting videos last night, he was not expecting he was going to have to do kissing, too. But he liked it. They went on kissing for a full minute while everyone watched, wondering if they were done fighting or just taking They went on kissing for a full minute while everyone watched, wondering if they were done fighting or just taking a break to kiss. Finally, the back part of Knuckles' body began to lift off the ground while his mouth was still making out with Espio. Eventually, the power became so strong that his mouth was removed from Espio, and their spit was like a shiny extension cord that connected an appliance to a wall outlet. Knuckles then began to glow while floating in the air, and the whole place became a little windy. On the side, Tails said to Cream,
Wow! I know what this is. This is a rare moment of science we will never see probably again in a lifetime or ever. It is called body donation, and it was invented by Einstein. It is when someone reaches a moment of such powerful love that they can choose to restart their lives as part of the person they love. Einstein invented this by making his wife love him so much one night during a romance pasta dinner. During a romance pasta dinner, that she became a baby that was like him, but then he killed his wife, the baby, because he thought it was too dangerous to have her live on in the world, have her live on in the world without testing it in the laboratory first. It is a fact that if it looks like magic, it is not magic. It is science, so deal with it.
Knuckles glided on the wind forward through the crowd of people in front of him and into Rouge's mouth, where he disappeared into. It was a good thing Rouge's baby had premonitions and told her to lie down, as then Knuckles did a U-turn in Rouge's sex-filled body and came out of her butt as a newborn baby that looked like Espio. This was all science.